So, in true fashion, we have not talked about our subject matter tonight,
Right.
really at all. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be an interesting episode.
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's interesting that this journey has already come to a close, at least for now.
Yeah.
They haven't. I don't think they've set an official release date for Born Again Season 2 yet, but I imagine it'd be sometime mid to late next year at the rate they're going.
Actually,
Oh,
I do in fact have the release date for Season 2. They have officially set the release date for March 2026, exactly 1 year after the original. So we don't have that long to wait, although it's going to feel like forever.
yeah, it's gonna feel like a long time, but that's not that far.
I guess the rumors are true that like they are going to try to stick to a yearly release for this show.
That's incredible,
Yeah.
and that's busy as hell.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's going to be interesting, man. Daredevil, Born Again Season 2 already, off the. I mean, it seems like they're well into filming it.
Oh, so. They are. Yeah, they've been even like purposely dropping spoilers and shit. So it's been interesting.
Hey, HBO, it is feasible for you to come out with a season every year, no matter how like big budget your show is. You could come out with an episode every year.
They're like, can we though?
Looking at you, House of the Dragon, or Last of Us, or any of your major shows.
I keep forgetting House of the Dragon is supposed to be this year, right? Or is it next year?
Next
year. Oh, okay, next year.
Yeah, which is what made the whole thing a lot more maddening.
Yeah, because it already feels like it's been forever since we got Season 2 of House of the Dragon.
Yeah, so this year we're gonna get the Dunk and Egg stuff.
Oh, they're dropping that. Okay,
which is a different Game of Thrones prequel. A less prequel-y prequel. It is between the two properties that this takes place.
Yeah, I've heard like about the Dunk and Egg stuff, but I have no concept of who they are or if it's. I mean, I'm assuming it's interesting enough for them to make a show around it.
Yeah, it's actually a series of novellas by George R. R. Martin. I think it's a trilogy of novellas, and it's actually about Maester Aemon from The Wall, the blind guy.
Oh yeah.
When he's a kid, he's a squire for a knight. Mm-hmm. And their nicknames are Dunk and Egg, and it's their story.
Okay.
He actually references it in the show. It's a very little tiny nod, but in kind of one of his when he's kind of on death's door and he's kind of having his like little hallucinations and stuff. Mm-hmm. He actually like alludes to this in the show. He says something about like. Them calling him Egg, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's just a little tiny little Easter egg that you wouldn't pick up on if you didn't know about it. So,
okay. Well, in other news, before we get to the main event, blind guy.
the blind guy of the evening.
Yeah. Thunderbolts is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And how you feeling about it so far? How's the hype level for that for you?
So let me say this. Around phase 2, I'd say ever since the first Avengers movie, it's like there's a baseline hype for anything MCU, right? And it's a cool thing to have installed that in a society, right? Not just me, but in like people in general. What's unfortunate for them now is they've also installed one on the other side at the top. And now there's like a limit on the hype. So where it was like, maybe a baseline of 3 all the time. Oh, well, now it's a 3, but with a maximum of 8.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't get too excited. Because I'll be honest, from hearing rumors about the test screenings to people that have worked on the movie and like just general like people who have been in it, everybody says like, oh hey, this is going to be amazing, this is going to be the first like banger Marvel has churned out in a while, but we've heard that kind of shit before.
A few times.
You know? And it's like, this happens a lot where, like, you'll have that original, like, you'll hear, oh, the test screens are really good. And then you'll have that first, like, press event that the press goes to, and it's like, oh, they can't write a full review, but, you know, they can give their impressions or whatever. And those are always, like, overwhelmingly positive for the most part.
Yeah.
I will say that with Brave New World, we heard the test screenings were rough. It did not screen well.
Yeah.
Before or after the reshoots, you know? So if there's, you know, if the same people that said, hey, it's not testing well, and granted, I don't hate Brave New World. I have no, you know, I think I gave it an 8 or something like that. I like the movie. I watched it again, actually. I don't have any major problems with that movie. Even though old Greg's the villain, you know, whatever. All my issues with that movie are minor. I have a long list of minor complaints, but, you know, it's very serviceable, enjoyable, run-of-the-mill, you know, MCU movie. But I would really love for Thunderbolts to be more than that.
Yeah. And
I think the hype surrounding it, there actually, I think, is some kind of groundswell hype around this movie. Marvel has really laid in. I would love to see what the marketing budget is for this movie, because Marvel has put more marketing behind this movie than anything I can think of since, like, Endgame.
You know, you have to think of it from this perspective. We always speak from, like, you know, what do the casual fan base think of this or that or whatever. And with the Thunderbolts, I imagine if you're a casual, this just looks like a random hodgepodge. Let's scrape the bottom of the barrel and see what we got. Who do we have available? Who can we put together in the movie? And let's see what we can do. You know, that's probably what it looks like from a casual POV. It's like, oh, we got the bad guy from Ant-Man 2. We got, who else we got? We got the bad guy from Black Widow.
If they even remember who Ghost is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
I will say, though, there's no mistaking that a great deal of the marketing is Bucky and Yelena.
Yep. Because
I think those are two fan favorites.
Yes.
I think people just, in general, really also like Florence Pugh, you know. And the guy that plays Red Guardian.
David Harbour.
Yeah, while people probably don't necessarily love Red Guardian, people love David Harbour.
Yes.
They even did that A24 collaboration.
Yeah, they did.
Which was interesting.
Right. And it is also interesting because I've seen the internet begin to ask the same question I've been wondering since this movie was announced, which is, so how are they going to beat the Century?
Yeah.
And it's just been a bunch. At this point, it's almost a meme from how many people have been asking this question, where, like, the response is like, with the power of friendship, you know, they're going to come together.
Family.
Yeah, with family. They're going to find a way to stop Century or Void.
Vin Diesel has been cast as Ghost Rider, and he's in the movie.
Oh, no.
And he's going to come teach them the power of family.
It's the most powerful force in all the universe.
Yeah, they're actually not even going to do any sort of, like demonic connection, no Mephisto, nothing. It's just going to be Vin Diesel on a motorcycle. Like, in his normal shit.
In his normal shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, you're going to wait the whole movie for, like, the,
right.
You know, no, it's not going to happen. No fire, none of that.
And there won't be any kind of penance stare. He's just going to look at you and say family, and then, like, you just burst into flames or whatever.
Yeah. Honestly, man, you're starting to sell it to me now. We're past the point of us joking about it. Now I kind of want to see it.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, you know, I think with that being said, we can kind of go ahead and jump into the main event for tonight.
Yeah, we know what you guys came here for.
Yes.
We're not going to keep you waiting.
The first proper introductions are in order, so homies one and all, welcome back to another very special episode of the Superhero Homies Podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I am here with the man without fear, the man who actually inspired Matt Murdock's creation. I'm talking about none other than the homie Caleb.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I wasn't aware of that, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm going to want my royalties, Marvel.
There's a slight dispute right now because apparently, even though it's Matt Murdock is based on you. He was created before you, and so the lawyers are trying to, they're trying to get it worked out.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's one of those very complicated.
It is
matters, and then, also I'm sure like the Ninja Turtles creators probably are tied up in all that shit.
Absolutely,
so.
it's the whole thing.
The whole thing.
But homies, we are here tonight, of course, to discuss the finale of Daredevil Born Again. We've had 9 episodes, and now the season has come to a close. What do we think about the episode? What about the season as a whole? And what's going to happen in next year's season 2?
Yes, those are the burning questions that we will answer for you tonight. Although that last one about what will happen in season 2, we're just speculating. However, I did call the Matt Murdock protecting Wilson Fisk from being murdered by Poindexter before we ever saw any of the show.
Yeah, you did. You did call that.
So, that's like my claim to fame for 2025. I'm holding on to that shit.
That's a hell of a call. Yeah. So we're just going to get right into this, man. It's called Straight to Hell. I've seen this episode twice now. I watched it once, last night, and then I watched it again a couple hours ago to take my notes on it. I think the way I feel about the episode has slightly changed after the second viewing. But I am curious to get your viewpoints, Caleb. What you think of this episode?
Shit, I'll be back. Maybe I need to go watch it again. Number one, let's talk about the title. I thought it should have been called The City Without Fear. That should have been the title of the episode.
I think that's what you call season 2's finale.
Or the opening.
Or the opening. I say finale because, that sounds like what happens once the city really is without fear and they overcome.
Yeah.
Whereas it sounds like the beginning of season 2, Matt's still trying to get together a crew.
Yeah. So I'm a
spoiler. Full spoilers.
Yeah. Full spoilers for everything. If you're still here, you should know. Listen. I didn't like this. The way I feel about this episode is incredibly unique because there are elements of this episode that I absolutely love. And then there are elements of this episode that I am intrigued by, but I don't think were executed well. And then there's parts of this episode that I just don't, I think represent the very disjointed nature of how this show was put together. And I don't knock the show as a whole for that, but it's weird to me that those issues didn't come bubbling to the top until the end of season 1, in this finale. And I was kind of hoping early on that, we noticed some things where it's like, okay, yeah, some of this shit was kind of, hodgepodge together, but they made it all make complete sense. But you could tell, maybe if we didn't know about the production history of the show, we may not have picked that stuff out.
Right.
But here in the finale, there's no denying it, that it's like, you can tell this was scraped together with what they had laying around, The original season was planned to be 18 episodes, and I was like, okay, well, surely they completely abandoned that plan and they're going to make a single season of television. No, they just cut that shit in half. The main thing that I hate about this finale is that it does not feel conclusive or fulfilling in any way. Do they have the obligation to give us that? I'll let that be up to everyone else to decide. I feel short fucking changed by it though, and that's that you guys are gonna feel that in my review tonight.
Yeah, I think that this episode, as a finale, does not fulfill me either. This episode doesn't give me what I would want from a finale. And again, I understand that it doesn't need to feel. It doesn't need to feel like an exclamation point at the end of a sentence, but it does need to feel like we've hit a good ending of a chapter, like a good end of a series of chapters at least. And it doesn't really feel that way. This does feel like a break in the middle of something. This feels like if we were making a trilogy of movies, this is where like part one of that trilogy would end, you know?
Yeah.
And that's probably not what they were trying to go for, but that's what it feels like. On the other hand, I thought that this was a really great episode. I thoroughly enjoyed this as an episode of Daredevil television. It just doesn't function well for me as the end. It's like you're riding a roller coaster and you get right up to that precipice and then you have to get off and you can come back next year to get on to feel that that drop. That's kind of how it was for me. I think that this episode, though, has a lot of strong things to offer. And I noticed this especially a lot more in my second viewing. Like, from what I can ascertain, there's not a whole lot of fat on this episode. Like, everything serves a purpose.
They House of the Dragon does.
Almost, except House of the Dragon, that last episode of season 2.
It was a trailer.
Yes.
It was an hour-long trailer for season 3.
Yes.
Whereas this episode was an episode of Daredevil, and then they were like, oh, right, we were supposed to tie some shit up. Our bad. We'll get to it.
Right.
Next year.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you just look at it this way, like, comparing it to, like, the Netflix series, you know, like, there's not, like, a whole lot of connective tissue between those seasons, but each season feels like its own story, and then you get to the next season, and it organically picks up from where the previous season left off at.
Right.
You know? And, you know, you just don't get that with this. Like, this story is still ongoing. Like, I thought that Fisk being mayor in season 2 still made a lot of sense, but I was thinking or hoping that, like, a major plot piece of this season would be wrapped up, but it's just not. You know, it's an ongoing thing. And I don't know.
I guess as far as like, so let's start at the beginning. I thought that this finale, based on what we got last week, and I loved last week's episode. I think I gave it a 9.8, something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm very glad I withheld that fucking 10 because I was like, this is very part 1, part 2. Mm-hmm. It's actually like part 1 of 9 apparently. I was like, I need to see where this goes before I say anything. And we got that incredible ending to episode 8, right? Mm-hmm. They had the fucking choir, you know, in the background. You had the fucking lightning storm outside. You had Matt jumping in front of the bullet from Poindexter. And I'm thinking that this episode is going to pick up right fucking there.
Yeah.
And we're about to have a full high octane, like, there's a citywide manhunt, and all of our key players are tied up in it. Mm-hmm. And, like, we're just going to have a fucking adrenaline-fueled final episode that's probably going to lead to either Fisk or Matt killing Poindexter, more than likely, right? Yeah. Or Frank. Mm-hmm. But I feel like at this point, Frank doing it.
Right, out of left field.
You know, but, oh man, that is not what we got. They let that massive build that they hit at the end of episode 8, they just kind of let that shit die, you know, and they're like, oh, well, this picks up the next day.
Yeah, I'm partially with you on that in the sense that I also thought they were going to pick back up exactly at that point.
Yeah.
But just because that's not what they gave us doesn't mean that what they gave us doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think they took a shortcut, right? Because it's like, okay, you have Bullseye up on that railing with the sniper rifle. Mm-hmm. Okay, he shot at Fisk and hit Matt. All right, win. He's gonna shoot again. Like, did he only have one bullet? Did he just shoot him and be like, oh man, well,
shucks.
I mean, it still counts. I'm down with it. And then he just bolted. Like, that doesn't seem like Poindexter to me.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. He's going to keep killing.
Right.
Here he goes killing again.
Yeah, there he goes killing again.
And in a bare minimum, he's going to try to probably also shoot Vanessa and probably Fisk again, you know? Like, how many blind guys you got to jump in front of you? Probably just the one.
It'd be weird if there's, if there was two.
yeah, probably just the one. And it's just weird to me, like, we don't see how that situation diffused, Mm-hmm. I mean, he at least should have shot one of, like, Fisk's people that was trying to get Fisk out of there. I just don't see Bullseye just shooting the one bullet and then be like, and then leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had to try to pull up some kind of defense for that, he knows that Fisk has how many armed men around here?
That's true. And he probably is not super eager to be going right back to prison either.
Yeah, probably not, And they'll probably be super duper bad this time as compared to last time even.
Right.
I don't know what you do with the man who the mayor has a hate boner for now and who's also killed, like, how many prison guards?
Yeah, so many.
So I can't imagine where Dex ends up at. But yeah, this episode is called Straight to Hell, and it starts off with a flashback. We see Dex in a drugged state. He seems to be in maybe some kind of mental prison. Medical prison, and he is visited by Vanessa. And long story short, she offers him an appeal if he can do a favor for her. At this point, we get a little bit more details as to why Vanessa hired Dex in the first place to kill Foggy. So it's not just Foggy, but it was also the client that Foggy was dealing with as well.
Yeah.
And apparently, they were able to uncover some dirt on the whole Red Hook thing. We've been hearing about Red Hook docks this entire season.
Yeah.
And apparently, that was going to cause some real big problems for Vanessa if Foggy was alive and was able to take this thing to court.
Right.
And so time was of the essence, and she needed Dex within the next few days to eliminate both that client and Foggy. And he would essentially be a quote-unquote free man. Dex, in a stupor state, signs the paperwork, and we can assume that the rest is history. What do you think of this scene?
I thought that this scene was good for them to have in here for us to kind of see, how Vanessa was manipulating Dex. Mm-hmm. Because while, Dex is this awful fucking character.
Yeah.
He's not just like pure unadulterated evil, It's more that he's an unstable fucking psychopath that people have weaponized for their own agenda, right? How this motherfucker ever got to be an FBI agent is beyond me.
Really?
I mean, well, he could work in like the current FBI, I'm sure, but
like they don't they target people who like are easily susceptible to following orders and doing the shit that won't be questioned.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like even if you have shit that's like sealed or whatever, like a juvie record, I'm pretty sure when you try to go work at the FBI, they could look at that shit either way.
Fun fact: a lot of returned Mormon missionaries are actually scouted by the FBI.
That's weird. I don't know that I like that at all. Actually, that's is it because they want them to like go back as like spies? I would figure it would be like the CIA.
No, a lot of it has to do with what I just said. Like they follow orders without question.
Oh,
they're very disciplined and regimented.
Oh, okay.
Just shit like that.
That's fair. Yeah. Do you think Brandon Sanderson is like an undercover FBI agent this whole time?
He could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did his is it 2 years?
Yep, 2 years.
And he did his in South Korea.
Oh, he's definitely a spy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if he speaks South Korean. Korean.
I think he does speak some Korean.
He probably still does. I mean, he had to learn it when he was over there. So
he's very adamant about that their spoons are better than ours.
That's a weird observation to bring back. I feel like that's code.
Yeah, he 100% is like, this is the hill I die on. Like, American spoons are terrible, and like Korean spoons are superior.
I just have to take his word for it, I guess.
All right, man.
I'm not that invested in spoons.
Me neither. Yeah.
We took a weird turn somewhere.
We did take a weird turn. It will happen again.
Again, very much so.
Probably tonight.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was talking about tonight, but I said again.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Moving forward here, we have Matt in the hospital, And Heather and Kristen, they're beginning to think that Matt is losing his goddamn mind. And I have written in quotation marks here, I no longer like Heather.
That happened in this episode for you?
Well, see, for the longest time, I was trying to, understand why can't I remember anything about this woman? And then it was my subconscious telling me it's because we don't like her.
Yeah. She's shysty.
She is very shysty. Okay, so there's a little bit to unpack here in this scene. First of all, Matt does call out for Karen instead of Heather.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him,
Right, yeah.
And she seems to take that to heart. And I understand that her and Matt had some disagreements and some arguments even later on, early in that evening. But he just got shot by a psychopath who he has a history with. Maybe show some kind of compassion in this moment.
Yeah, she's just like, I don't think I should be here. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we only see her one more time in the episode.
And that's not a good look for her either.
No. Yeah. I stopped liking her in 8, I think. Which,
yeah.
I mean, we always knew, like, when we come to find out that Matt is living with her, and she doesn't know that he's Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
Matt doesn't trust her. Not really.
Yeah.
So.
You're right. And, I mean, all things considered, we don't have a lot to go off on, but I think that Matt was probably in the right not to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Heather, not really the best supportive partner in this scenario, Matt, this whole time, is trying to convince Heather and Kirsten that Fisk is not on the up and up, that, even though Bullseye was aiming for Fisk, that all of this shit still ties back around to Matt and Foggy. And he's trying to talk about how Foggy had some dirt on the Fisk through this whole Red Hood thing. And at this point, he does sound delusional. He sounds like a madman, but no one is listening to him. And, yeah.
The only thing I can figure about Heather is, like, either Matt is such a fucked up individual that he needs a live-in therapist, or she gives incredibly enthusiastic head, or both. It could be both. Yeah.
Yeah. Both is good.
But if it's neither one of those things, I'm not seeing the upside here.
There's not a whole lot of upside here, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, never mind. I'll just save that thought for later.
Great.
Fisk and Vanessa, on the flip side, though, they are growing closer together. And we've talked about this, how, like, there was, like these similarities between Fisk and Matt.
Yeah.
And then at some point, they began to kind of diverge.
Now we're exploring the differences.
Yeah. Yeah, while Matt and Heather are, like, cold as shit. Vanessa and Wilson, they're hot.
Yeah.
And, they're talking about this whole Red Hook thing and how over the years, Vanessa has been able to make millions through Red Hook. Now, with him being mayor, they'll be able to make billions through this port, through this dock.
Yeah.
And at this point in the episode, we don't know how they're going to do that, but we'll find out here soon.
We gonna see.
And also, he says to Vanessa that he knows what she did. They don't explicitly say it, but they've got to be talking about the Foggy thing, right?
Yeah.
What'd you make of that?
I feel like either the writers just glossed over this whole thing, or he knows what she did, but not why she did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Fisk is a smart guy. If he figured out that she did have Foggy killed, then he probably can put together why she did it.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, Fisk is also just like he doesn't need an excuse to do some cold-blooded shit either.
He doesn't.
So
absolutely not. Yeah. But I can understand why Vanessa would be hesitant, because I can also see Fisk being like, "You killed the blind ninja's best friend."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
My biggest op, you killed his best friend.
Yeah.
Now
yeah.
he's never gonna stop.
Yeah. We thought we were done with him, but now, yeah, I feel like they really skipped over their ability to explore all of that.
Yeah.
And I don't really like that at all. Actually, I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I thought that at some point, and I don't need a lot, but I do need something, just like another scene or two to kind of delve a little bit deeper into that, you know.
Yeah. In the meantime, Fisk suggests to Buck that Mr. Murdock could succumb to his injuries.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a shame if he did, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be hilarious if Buck just didn't pick up what Fisk was putting down.
He was like, "Yeah, man, that would be crazy."
That'd be, or he was like, "Why would that be bad, boss? We kind of want him dead, don't we?"
Yeah. That's how Daniel would have been.
Right.
Daniel would be like, "Yeah, that's crazy." Yeah, I mean, I think that actually would be ideal if he died. You know, now that you mention it, but the doctors say he's gonna make a full recovery. So, yeah.
Yeah, they said something about like turtle blood being in on that. He's just
That's a deep cut.
That's a deep cut, folks. Oh shit!
He's got cheese pizza in his veins.
In the meantime, Fisk wants to shut down the city, close the tunnels and the bridges, and he wants to absolutely unleash the task force upon the city in order to get these mass vigilantes. This is absolutely him seizing a moment.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. Bullseye went into not your home, but a place where you felt the most secure.
Right.
Infiltrated that, and then would have killed you had it not been for your biggest op.
Yeah. Had it not been for Daredevil,
Yeah.
you would be dead.
Right. And that's got him shook, but it also, I think he's more concerned about the optics of it, because it looks like he doesn't have the control that he wants people to think that he does, and the fact that fucking Matt Murdock saved him.
Yeah, this whole thing causes Fisk to go full unhinged Kingpin mode.
Absolutely.
He's not trying to hide it at all anymore.
No.
I hate the blackout storyline. Mm-hmm. I don't really... It's almost like they needed a reason for the apartment to be dark when him and Frank do all this shit. And they're like, for me, I feel like the blackout was a wasted opportunity. To me, I would have much preferred that they not turn the power back on. Like, this episode, if it's going to end the way it ends, I think the power should still be out.
I agree. I had the same thought, you know, that the power should still be out.
Because it's kind of just this one night thing. It loses any impact that it might have to me.
Yeah, with it just being the one night thing, yeah. If they're going to do it, then it should have lasted longer. I do agree there.
We're like, the power was out here for a week and a half.
Yeah. That shit was awful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, screw you guys.
Yeah.
One night. Pff,
right. That's nothing.
crack open a book. Your e-reader ain't even going to die in one night.
That shit was hilarious, though. The power went out in New York for a few hours, and, like, there was looting.
Yeah.
A shit ton of it.
Yeah.
And murder.
Hey.
You know?
What the fuck was Spider-Man doing through all of this?
So that's been, like, the question, right? Spider-Man, the Defenders, like, what the fuck? Here's the thing. If shit was as bad as this episode made it look, then they're probably busy.
That's true. Yeah. I just would have. They should have seen some showed like some looters trying to break into like old man Steve Rogers' apartment.
Oh my gosh! Talk about like terrible luck.
Like Chris Evans, we only need you for like 4 hours on set. We just need to film like one scene.
But you're gonna have to spend about 3 hours in makeup.
Yeah. 3 hours of that is you're gonna be in makeup. Yeah.
That would have been great.
And he just beats the shit out of them.
And they're like, take us to you. We know you got a safe in here, old man. Take us to it. All right. Just give me a second. And then just beats the shit out of them.
He starts grabbing like a plate and like
Oh shit! Like the way that Ozymandias hit fucking Night Owl and Rorschach with that shit in The Watchmen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit. Yeah. So Fisk, he also wants Sheila to find his non-supporters. You know, you can't have people who don't see the vision.
Right.
In your circle. You know, and. I mean, hell, we can kind of go ahead and go right to this because technically it's the next scene. But after she's leaving, after having the interaction with Fisk, she bumps into Gallo, Commissioner Gallo.
Yeah, I until this scene, man, I will say I was unsure about what Sheila was gonna do.
Yeah,
but I think at this point, man, Sheila's like, I gotta look out for my own skin.
You know, on my first viewing, man, I was actually a little taken aback at her decision here to betray Gallo because all this season it seemed like she was trying to steer things in a better direction.
Yeah.
But no one would listen to her. But maybe I'm just pessimistic, but on my second viewing, like what I took away was, well, of course she did it. She's still a politician.
Right.
You know, and she won't have a career. So it's like if she goes through with, you know, Gallo's idea and you know, and they team up and work together and they do bring down Fisk, she probably won't have a job after this. Hell, yeah. She'll be on trial, probably.
Probably, yeah, because she was right there on TV next to the motherfucker for most of it. But, like, on the other side of it, she also could get her head crushed.
That part, too. And, I mean, I'm sure you're not drawing that from many examples that happen.
Nah, it was just a random thing. We were talking about Game of Thrones earlier, and Pedro Pascal, and, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so like you said earlier, Buck is sent to visit Matt Murdock. He's got like, you know, a get well soon baggie and everything.
Yeah, I wonder if there was actually like a gift in there.
There was a teddy bear at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, that was nice.
Matt should have went back for his teddy bear.
He should have.
Hey, man, that was for me.
I love how Matt's laying up in the hospital and then like he's like, wait a minute, something ain't right.
I love this scene, like how Matt hears him coming, and like he just knows who it is based off his heartbeat. And like Matt's not in there when he gets in there, but like
he can probably smell whatever poison was in that needle too.
Probably, but I hate the way this was shot. It felt like to me like they tried to do something really artistic with it, but it just didn't hit. It just didn't hit for me.
Well, the reason why this it was well enough to get the point across for what they wanted to do, but for it to feel like a really impactful kind of scene, if that's what they wanted to do, they should have lingered with it a little bit longer. It should have been more of us seeing how Matt got out of there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's like they throw the Killing Me Softly remix in there, which was dope. And then
that's the OG actually.
That's the original? Motherfucker, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Roberta Flack, she just passed away.
I did not know that. Yep. Well, forgive me for making this awful error. I'm sure it will come up again tomorrow. But yeah, so they throw this original classic in there, and then it's like we get like this little like very brief montage kind of, and then Matt damn near winks at the fucking camera. Like he can't really do that, but if he could.
Well, I guess my thing was like, you know, the lights go out and Matt just kind of moses on out of the hospital. I was hoping it'd be something more like, this is maybe a weird callback. I don't know if you've seen the movie Driver.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling, like the way that those scenes were shot in that movie, I thought were really cool because it's not like Fast and Furious, you know, drive fast, vroom, vroom, escape, but it's like strategically and maneuvering your way through crowds of people.
Yeah.
You know? I was kind of hoping that Matt would use his ninjutsu to escape because he is hurt. He probably doesn't want to have a physical confrontation.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, in the hospital with a whole bunch of other people. But it would have been cool to see him use like his actual ninjutsu skills to get out of there. But instead, he just kind of pulls a very, very vague Batman and, and then just leaves.
I'll be honest, Fisk did not think this thing through very well because, like, if your arch nemesis is Daredevil, you don't cut the power to the city.
Yeah.
It's like, you just giving this motherfucker all the advantages. You're making it where he rolls with advantage on every check.
Exactly. Or at least your people roll at disadvantage.
Yeah, and he's not affected. Yeah, he was rolling with advantage anyway. But at least you had straight rolls.
Right. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Oh, man. So Matt goes home. I don't know if he catches an Uber, if he walks, but he goes home.
Yeah, I mean, he's just in the hospital gown, just like, man, you know how it is. Fuck it. Matt Murdock doesn't care about his drip, okay? He can't see it.
He can't see it. The only drip he cares about is the red one.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, and he goes home and just very nonchalantly sits on the couch. And I get it. You know, you come home from like a really shitty weekend of being away.
Yeah.
You just kind of want to unwind.
And in true Matt Murdock fashion, this motherfucker can't get 5 minutes apiece.
So imagine walking in, right, and like your best frenemy is in your kitchen, and you don't even want to look in that motherfucker's direction.
Not that it would matter.
Not that it would matter. Yeah, it wouldn't at all.
And Frank, you know, who, from what we could tell, hasn't really seen Matt other than like the one episode we saw him in for years. Is just like, man, you ain't got a single thing to make any fucking coffee in here.
And Matt's like, here we fucking go.
He's just like, oh my God, I hate this motherfucker. Please, why today?
Right. Why are you here, Frank?
Yeah.
And Frank says that he's here as a favor. I think we all know who called in that favor, you know?
Yeah. Probably. So, as far as like the actual moment of like, did this episode give me a moment where I was actually like cheering? It was probably when she got out of the car. Because I was just like, yes, here we are.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the fight scene we get here first, because this is definitely a high point of the episode.
Agreed.
Matter of fact, anytime that Matt and Frank are on screen, not just in this episode, but period, it's 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Like, as a matter of fact, we could just use a whole season of that, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I sent you a text about that last night.
Yeah.
Like, can we just get a season of Matt and Frank bitching at each other?
Yeah. Yeah. This fight scene was amazing.
It was, and like, it blew my mind because so many people that I see, and I think it is, like you said last week, just a small or loud minority of people who say that it didn't have the grit or the gram of the Netflix series. And I'm like, this is way more violent than the Netflix series.
Yeah.
I saw Frank Castle blow a hole through people's heads.
Yeah.
And I saw him put a man's head on the table like this, and then a gun on top of the man's head like so, and then fired it like 3 times.
Through the table.
Through the table. He made that man a bowling ball out of his head.
I seen him shoot a police officer through another police officer. Even Vic Mackey hasn't done that. Yeah.
Yeah, this fight scene was incredible. And, you know, I understand what Fisk was thinking. He wasn't counting on Punisher being there. And he was counting on Matt Murdock being hurt.
A wounded Matt Murdock versus your most elite crew.
Yep.
Notice Officer Powell wasn't there. Old bitch.
Bitch ass.
We now know that Powell did not actually kill Hector.
Yeah, which, you know, Matt picked up on that when he asked him. And his heart didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was Cole.
Did not see this coming.
Yeah, it was Officer Cole North who killed Hector Ayala.
The only person who on the task force who was worth the fuck in our eyes is the biggest piece of shit, somehow.
And I was like, motherfucker. His hand gets pinned to the wall with a knife by Punisher. And I love Punisher egging on Matt to kill him.
Yes.
Do it, man. He's right there, you know.
Not only does so his right hand gets tagged to the wall with the knife by Punisher. Mm-hmm. His left hand that he tried to grab either a gun or a knife with, Frank shoots.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, man, he's right here," you know.
Yeah. Apparently, like poor Cole North, like no one gave him the breakdown of like who these two are and what they're capable of. You know.
Clearly not. They were very, very. I would say they were outnumbered, but there was like 11 of them, and like 2 of our heroes, quote unquote. Matt goes up to get the Daredevil suit.
Yep.
And doesn't he crash in through the ceiling?
Yeah, he does.
Here? Yeah, which was dope.
It was.
But yeah, when they came into the apartment and it was like empty, I was like, "You guys are about to die. All of you are about to die. Like, you think you have enough people with you? You don't.
You don't. Yeah." And you know what I really like here about like this whole scene with Frank trying to convince Matt to kill North, Cole is obviously Matt doesn't want to do it. You know, instead he opts to knock him out, and he and Frank, they go back and forth and argue about it, and Frank kills another wounded guy on the ground. Yeah. And
you're an asshole, Frank.
And what I love about this, right, is that this is also very, very Batmanish, but it's also very much in line with these two relationship, the relationship between Matt and Frank.
Right.
And the thing of it is that I think that both Frank Castle and Matt Murdock, they both know that, similar to Batman, if Matt were to go down that road, there is no coming back for him.
Yeah.
And I think that Matt looks at Frank and he's like, I don't want to be anything like you.
Yeah, you're a fucking psychopath, dog. Yeah. You like can't exist in society at all.
Right. And then Matt hears a grenade. And we're going to talk about this because that was definitely more than just one grenade.
Yeah.
For sure. But they go and they dive out the window, and Matt is able to use his billy club to kind of soften the landing.
They like Spider-Man to out of here.
Yeah. And after they crash land, there's more shit talking, and then obviously the loft blows up. There's like 2 explosions, like one for the grenade, and then I don't know what that second explosion was, but that shit was.
Well, I'm assuming that like a lot of them, the task force probably had grenades on them.
Oh yeah.
So my assumption is that like that first grenade set all the other ones off.
Oh wow, yeah, that's not good. Yeah. So then we get to see Karen.
Yep, she gets out the car and like. At this point, we know that she sent Frank.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense for it to be anyone else.
It doesn't. It had to be her that sent Frank. So, logistically speaking, I do have questions / complaints here.
Yep.
And that is, we find out that Dex broke out of prison essentially the same time that our characters find out.
Right.
Which was, canonically speaking, maybe 8 hours ago.
Right.
Maybe that, because it's still nighttime.
Yep. Well.
Or is it the following day?
It's the following day. So it's like 24 to 36 hours.
Gotcha. Okay.
Probably 24.
Okay.
If it's the following night.
Okay. All right. If it is the following day and it has been like a full day, then it's more feasible for Karen to catch a flight. She did say she was in LA, right?
Yeah.
From LA to New York. Okay.
That's a 4-hour flight.
Yeah. And there are frequent flights between those two.
That's true. So
that is possible. Okay. Never mind.
It's going to be an expensive ticket.
Super expensive.
If you're buying it that day.
Right. It also kind of makes it more obvious that, like, they really did originally write Karen out of the show because there's no reason for her to have been gone.
Right.
No,
not at all.
Yeah. They go to Frank's bunker, and we get a very interesting scene here. Later on, Matt remarks that he heard, their heartbeats.
Yeah.
Insinuating that, there'd be some feelings going on there. Yeah. Yeah. it's interesting, right? Because like I don't know, I never really thought of Frank feeling that way about Karen. It always seemed to be more. I don't know. It seemed to be like a mixture of like Logan and Laura slash kind of a protector and someone to keep him on the straight path type relationship. You know,
Right.
almost more sibling than romantic for me. But I mean, I don't know. What you think of it?
That to me isn't that far fetched.
It's not that it's far fetched, but it never read that way to me.
Well, when Matt says this though, it's entirely possible that he's revealing this to them. Like it could be a thing, and it's possible that Frank actually doesn't see it that way necessarily, or he doesn't realize that he sees it that way.
Yeah, that's true. Frank really has a thing for coffee as well.
He really does. I think that's newish. I think he liked it before, but it wasn't to this point where he's like, man, I need some motherfucking coffee right now.
I imagine, man, like Frank Castle probably has a lot of nightmares and doesn't sleep a whole lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though I think the biggest asshole thing in this scene was Matt asking if he had any oat milk. You know, good and damn well Frank Castle ain't got no oat milk.
He probably ain't got no milk.
Right.
Period.
When he asks you if you want coffee, that's the kindest gesture you're gonna get. There won't be any cream. There won't be any sugar. There won't be any sweetener.
No, right. It's gonna be like some motherfucker made it in the desert, black coffee.
Yeah, you're gonna get coffee grounds in your cup. All right.
Yeah, probably. But they're gonna be floating in that shit. For sure.
For sure. We get Daniel who meets with the New York City Council, and he introduces to them the Safer Street Initiative. And at this point, they don't reveal a whole lot of information on what this is. We get a few details, but Fisk gives us like more of the details later on. But the council members are looking at this initiative, and they're like, "Oh, this is fucking crazy."
Yeah.
And Daniel reveals that, hey, he basically says Fisk has dirt on all of you.
Yep.
So if you don't want to go along with this, cool, we'll just make adjustments.
Yeah. Yeah, man, these adjustments don't seem like it's basically a hostile takeover.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. He's forcing their hands.
In the truest sense of it.
Yeah. Pretty fucked up. And so he was like, I assume that you guys will, all be in full support of the Safer Streets Initiative. I love how like the government, like in fiction and in reality, always name like these initiatives and these like new rollout laws, something so upbeat and positive.
Yeah.
The Patriot Act surely has our best interest at heart.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like how they changed the estate tax to be called the death tax.
Oh yeah,
because when it was called the estate tax, you like ask an average person if they like want to get rid of it, and they'd be like, no, fuck that shit. Like, tax that shit. And then they called it the death tax.
Right. And
they're like, oh, well, I'm going to die. I don't want my shit to be taxed. Like, even though it has no chance of actually applying to an average person. And then they got rid of it.
Fucking hell.
It's all about the optics.
All about the optics.
Which is why Matt Murdock don't give a fuck.
Matt and Karen, they are looking through some old case files trying to find the Red Hook case that Foggy was working on. And this when we get the nice callback of the avocados at law. That was just a nice moment, to see that callback,
Yes, I love the explanation of the joke.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they ever explained it in the...
They did, because we see it when it happens.
Oh, at the very beginning. Yeah.
It was like a flashback of those two in college.
Yeah, and it was before they even met Karen, so she wouldn't have known.
She wouldn't have known, right. So we get the reveal that Red Hook is what they call a free port that is exempt from state or country laws. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And now they understand why the Fists want this so much.
Yeah. Because essentially he could have like his own little mini kingdom.
Yeah. Mini Kingpin Kingdom Land.
Might need to work on the name.
Yeah, okay. The name is still being workshopped a little bit.
Need to hire a marketing team.
That's what Daniel's for, and that's the name he came up with.
Oh,
Mini Kingpin Kingdom Land.
I see. Yeah, that explains a lot, actually.
Yeah, come visit Mini Kingpin Kingdom Land. But basically, they could kind of do whatever there is almost like a little sovereign nation in that regard.
Yeah.
You know, they can open casinos if they wanted to. Hell, probably prostitution.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing stopping them. And then like all of like the money laundering can just be kicked up.
And it becomes legal.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And yeah, nothing can be done about that.
Yeah.
And that's what Fisk meant earlier when he said that he can, they were making millions through the port, and now they can make it billions.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, obviously them getting drugs into the city, that's still a crime. Mm-hmm. But Fisk is in charge of the shit that would, the people that would be, like, customs and all that would be going through the city. So all he's got to do is just grease those palms or put his people in there and just let his shit come through.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
Yeah. This is definitely something that would be right out of a comic book for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The next scene here, Frank Castle punishes the corrupt, crooked cops in the task force. Boy, what did you think of this scene here?
I could have watched this for hours.
I love how Frank Castle, he doesn't fail a stealth check. He just doesn't want to roll one.
Yeah, he didn't even roll the shit. He's just like, hey, bitches, here I is. And they're like, hey, man, what's going on? And he just starts the fight. Roll for initiative.
Right.
I'm Frank Castle.
It's crazy, right? Because he doesn't roll a stealth check, but he still gets a surprise round.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, you got to remember that these cops, like, think he's awesome.
Yeah, they idolize him.
And he does not return that favor.
He returns that favor with, like, shotgun shells to the face.
Yeah, man, I was actually kind of... he brutally kills a bunch of these cops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was something.
Yeah, he massacres several of these cops. And there's a lot of fucking members on this task force.
A lot, yeah.
Like at first when we see Fisk a few episodes ago gather them all together, it looked like maybe 8 to 12.
But now there's like 400.
Yeah.
They just got all the dirty cops from like all over the U.S.
Must have, So like that was an interesting reveal. There's a lot of fucking crooked cops. What the fuck has Gallo been doing?
Right, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of crooked cops.
Yeah. But eventually Frank Castle is subdued because they are using non-lethal rounds because they want to keep him alive. Which, I mean, I understand that you guys love and adore Frank Castle or what you think Frank Castle is. But keeping him alive is such an awful idea.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I hope I never find myself in a situation where I'm in any kind of battle with Frank Castle. But if I do, keeping him alive is going to be the last thing on my mind.
Right. Yeah.
I'll be like, he's just a man. If I can get a lucky shot and shoot him in the face, like, we're good.
We're good, yeah.
But, like, trying to, like, capture Frank Castle alive is, that's, like, one of the most dangerous objectives I could think of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's like trying to give like a needle tranquilizer to a fucking hungry lion and you're like in a 12 by 12 cage.
Yeah.
Like maybe, but probably not.
Yeah, this is like trying to capture a Viltrumite alive.
Yeah. Imagine trying to throw hands with Conquest, Yeah.
Yeah, don't kill him.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, man. Sheila snitches on Gallo, and you can tell she's having a hard time coping with the decision that she made, but she still made it. And because of this, Gallo, when he gets in his ride to be taken home, he is instead taken to Red Hook,
Yeah.
And there's this whole meeting that's going on here. And I love Gallows. I love his last words. I think he's talking to Buck, actually, who's explaining that they're just presenting what the city already wants, what the city's already chosen. And Gallows says, "Oh, you're out of your goddamn mind."
Yeah, and then, man, you see, like, we all knew that before it was over with, like, at the beginning of the season, we all knew eventually Fisk is just going to kill a motherfucker. And Gallo was the motherfucker.
The way that Gallo was killed is so horrendous.
It really is.
Oh, I mean, just the physics of it all. Like, that had to be an excruciating, however long it took.
Probably felt way longer.
Oh, yeah.
Than it was.
Like, imagine, like, the pressure you feel that your skull is beginning to crack and fracture, and then your jaw.
And your jaw, yeah.
Yeah. That's all. Like, I would be so mad. Like, why couldn't you just shoot me, Fisk?
Yeah.
You could have just shot me.
You could have just shot me, dog.
Yeah.
And had the same message.
Yeah.
Fisk is like, I've been thinking about doing this shit for weeks.
For a long fucking time. You know, one thing I can say about Commissioner Gallo is that Commissioner Gordon would never.
Hell no.
We seen Gordon survive a Bane encounter. All right.
Yeah, I mean, Commissioner Gordon would have jumped out the vehicle.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he would have been like, "You taking me?" No.
As soon as he saw that Punisher logo on the guy, Gordon would have been out of there.
That would have been it.
Yeah. At minimum, Gordon would have pulled a gun on the guy, you know.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, so Gallo's out of here, and I gotta say, man, like, I think that this was like a really cool call. This is a really good call for the show to make, because it looked like Gallo and BB were gonna work together, and then it looked like he also had Sheila on his side, and they were really beginning to form something that could effectively take down Fisk.
Yep.
But no, he's out of there, and I mean, who knows what Sheila ultimately decides to do, and you know, we only see BB in one scene, and she looks very distraught.
Yeah.
You know, so interesting to see where they go.
I'm definitely interested to see what they do with BB. The scene where Frank wakes up and they try to recruit him, which was hilarious.
Yes.
Because you and I both know that he's like, no, I don't want to work with you pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Y'all are the criminals.
I have written down here, Frank politely refuses to join the...
I do wish that Frank had been more explicit in this scene. I love that he called them a bunch of clowns or whatever, but I wish that Frank would have, like, just went into why they are not anything, like, why they don't even remotely understand what he is and why he is nothing like them, you know?
Yeah, I think that I agree that would have been cool, but that would have meant Frank would have had to be honest with himself, you know? And talking about, like, he would have had to admit that he's a broken man.
Yeah, that's true. And he had, well, he could have done it from a Frank Castle point of view.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. And that would have been cool. Maybe they'll explore that more in season 2.
Yeah.
Because Frank Castle has to kill Powell, man. Like,
he has to. He has to.
Oh, please kill Powell. Yeah. But yeah, Frank refuses to join up. Surprise, surprise. They beat him up some more, and Frank is talking shit the whole time.
Yeah.
So Karen and Daredevil, they go down to Red Hook, and they see that there's this whole operation going on. And Karen's like, "Matt, you dumbass, you can't go down there and fight all of them."
Which is what y'all thought was about to happen.
Yeah. And Matt's like, "I guess you're right." And they come to the realization that they need an army.
Here's my problem with this. Yes, in a way, it is a subverting expectations kind of thing, because we are all thinking, okay, well, it's a Daredevil finale. We're going to get Matt Murdock in the Daredevil suit. He's going to fight through all the Fisk goons, and it's going to end up with him and Fisk 1v1, possibly with a Poindexter appearance. But that's how season 3 ended. And so for this season to end that way would be very rinse and repeat. So not giving us that is a form of subverting expectations. And I think that if you want to make that choice, I think that's an interesting choice. And at the moment here that they start to talk about it, where Karen is like trying to talk Matt down and it's actually getting through to him, I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually working. This isn't what I expected. And I'm like, okay, well, this is one of the few positive instances of subverting expectations. But when you're doing this in a finale, you then have to give the audience something that's worth the squeeze, right? And so when Matt's like, we need an army, I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in New York that I would like to see pop up right here.
Yes.
And I think I'm not the only one who had those thoughts. Probably everybody everywhere was like, this is where the Defenders are going to roll in at minimum, if not like Kate Bishop or Kamala Khan or fucking...
Think about a Clint Barton versus Bullseye fight.
Yes. Or fucking Spider-Man. You know, we know for legal reasons that's probably not going to happen, but it would make sense.
Yeah.
No, it's just like 6 cops.
Yeah, and Cherry.
Yeah, and Cherry. And a bartender.
And Josie.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to serve the drinks.
Yeah, this fucking sucked at the highest level. Just plain and simple. This was not a good ending to this season of television. Like from the moment that you see Matt and Karen out at Red Hook kind of overlooking the operation, it's just a steep drop off for me in quality.
Yeah. I'm hard on this scene. I'm not as hard on it as that, because I know that like where they were at in production, they probably couldn't, which is why I think for season 2 is when we reportedly are going to get all these other guys back.
Yeah.
We want to see.
Well, that's the check we can cash when we get there.
Yeah. But it's like, that's why I can't.
Right now, it's just a giant IOU written in pencil.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, it's one of those things where, like, you kind of have to judge this on its own merit as it is.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of what we have to do right now. But I don't know. I think that, like, I have enough faith in this show to know that, like, that, you know, that squeeze would be worth the juice. You know, or the juice would be worth the squeeze, I should say. We'll
see. But as of right now, it isn't, unfortunately. I have a hard time recommending this to someone. It's like I would tell someone with a caveat. Like if I see somebody tomorrow and they're like, hey, man, you seen the new Daredevil, whatever, you know, how is it? I haven't watched none of it. I'd be like, well, it's like amazing. It's really good. But the ending is trash. You know, this is what I'd have to say. What I'd have to tell them to give my honest opinion. So,
I mean, that's the thing, though. I don't think this ending is trash. It's like Matt has to assemble an army. He doesn't have one.
Yeah.
So we have to.
But we know that he does have. I mean, he has access to one. You know, it's like if they're gonna say all the Netflix stuff is canon, which it is, then it's like, okay, well, where are the Defenders at? Like, they could have got them on set for a shot, man.
I mean, it's like, and they could have. I guess what I'm getting at is that, like, for me, like, that 5-second cameo doesn't heavily influence whether or not this finale as a whole sticks the landing or not. It's the overarching story for me. It's kind of what deviates that for me.
For me, it's just that it ends on a very dull note. Like, Matt coming down in the suit, this is the city without fear or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a cool ass line, but that's not what you actually have. You have a incredibly fearful city.
Yeah.
You have a city that you and all the people in this room have let slide into complete shit.
Right.
And there doesn't really seem to be a way for any of you to do anything about it presently.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely like, you know, kind of an Empire Strikes Back type of ordeal.
Oh, for sure.
You know? Yeah, I will say this, like, yeah, I don't think it's like me. I'm not so upset that we didn't get a shot of like the defenders or the heroes here at the end. The part that kind of frustrates me was that it seemed like a weak ending just on the face of it.
Yeah.
And I wish that maybe there was like another scene that we could have ended this on.
Yes.
You know, and even if the other scene is just more of the bad guys getting the upper hand, just something impactful, something to really hang your hat on at the end of the season. You know,
it feels like a ...
Yeah,
and I didn't love it at all. Like I was very let down by this, and then they had the nerve to be like, "Oh, post credit scene."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Cool," you know. All right, you know. They're panning through the cages or whatever where they got these guys locked up.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to see someone in here like Clint Barton or somebody like that. No, it's just Frank. And then this guy that they put guarding Frank that's clearly never actually heard of Frank.
Anthony.
Poor Anthony. Anthony is dead, folks. And I don't know what Anthony thought was going to happen.
Yeah, Anthony, this is his first day on the job. He just transferred in, you see.
Yeah.
You know.
And Frank Castle, man, you actually think that charisma was his dump stat, but it actually wasn't. It was wisdom. No, bruh. Like, that motherfucker has like an 18 in everything else. Charisma included.
I like to think that charisma still is dump stat, but just the other guy, his modifiers are also just even more trash.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's just straight garbage.
Yeah.
He's still like, Frank Castle. He's still probably got like a +1 for his worst stat. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a bunch of nerds, folks.
That's right. A bunch of D&D nerds over here.
Hey, the Baldur's Gate patch came out today, so.
That's right. I need to play that. I haven't played it yet.
You do.
Yeah. I imagine that, Anthony, he was like, man, this Frank Castle guy, they said that he was kind of a bad dude, but he seems on the up and up.
He's a really nice guy, He's a veteran.
Yeah. He wants to shake my hand. Hey, wait a minute. If I shake your hand, you're not going to kill me, are you? What? No. Oh, all right.
It was like the villain at the end of the Minecraft movie. Trying to stab Jack Black.
Yeah. Holy shit. And so I guess Punisher's free again. Free-ish.
He should probably break the swordsman out of there while he's in there.
Yeah, while he's down there. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But he probably didn't even know who that is.
Nope. And they probably wouldn't like each other at all.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So that is. Oh yeah. Well, I guess before that, Heather is made commissioner of mental health by Fisk. She accepts the position. Go to hell, Heather.
Yeah. You suck.
Yeah, you absolutely suck. And you know what? Now that Karen's back in the picture, we don't really need you here, Heather.
We really don't need you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. So just go back to making other bad decisions and picking the worst clients.
Yeah. Yeah, go make another serial killer. Fucking therapist, my ass.
Fisk declares New York under martial law.
This always goes well, historically.
I can't think of a time where it hasn't gone great. Oh, shit. Yeah, and then we get Matt and his half a platoon of wounded soldiers. Just like 3 police officers and Cherry and a barkeep and Karen.
They have a detective. Yeah. I forgot what her name is. The one from earlier in this season.
Oh, Kim.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. She was there.
Yep.
And that's all they have. And Kingpin is sitting pretty. And so that is where the season ends for Daredevil Born Again Season 1. Oh, man. Just not the finale I was hoping for. Or, and for me, it's like, I give this episode a pass on a lot of things, but on the way that they actually decide to wrap up this ending for this episode, for this season, it just doesn't stick the way that it should. You know.
Yep. It feels really hollow and rushed, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does. And like the crazy thing is like I am still very excited to see how this plays out in season 2. I just feel like some of what we get in season 2 we probably should have gotten in season 1 here at the end. Yeah, and that's why this is such a weird case for me, because I do not like how they chose to end this episode, this season of television. But man, do I love the journey, and I love the setup that we have for season 2. So it's a weird thing where what we get next, I'm hyped for, but man, I wish they had done a better job of transitioning us from A to B.
It's really House of the Dragon, man. I'm telling you, like, I had very similar thoughts that I had for House of the Dragon, other than the fact that, like, we got a whole season of filler, basically. That this is a 4 seasons of television that's going to be based on a war from one book. And, like, we are 2 of 4 seasons completed, and the war, technically, that we keep hearing about isn't started yet.
Yeah.
You know, whereas here, it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like this is very much a part 1 of 2.
Yep.
And because of that, there's not really any arcs that get wrapped up here. If it was me, I would have had a season arc that we could have wrapped here, and then also kind of make that a part of the fist stuff. Like, honestly, Muse would have been a great choice for this.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. If you just stretch that arc out even further. And honestly, the scene, you could have it still go the same way with him trying to attack Heather. And honestly, that scene plays out, I think, better 2 episodes later than it did in episode 7. Because with Matt saving her while they're estranged or whatever. Also, Matt Murdock having a bullet hole in his chest gives Muse a lot more of a chance.
Absolutely. See, I think about that too, and I'm like, how would this have played out if Frank Castle was on the scene in Muse?
Oh, God. Frank just, like, shoots him in the head. He's like, was that so hard?
Yeah.
Was that so hard, Red?
Oh, come on, Red. You see what I did?
Yeah.
You see how easy that was?
Yeah.
I'll do it again.
Yeah. You're an asshole, Frank. Their banter is just perfect.
It is, man. It's so good. Man, and it's crazy, right? Because, like, back in 2016, I went to Chicago WizardCon for Daredevil. It was for the Daredevil season 2 release, right? And it was crazy because the Daredevil cast was there,
right?
And so, like, I got this really cool plaque for them to sign, you know. And I got Charlie Cox to sign it. I got Elodie Young, Elektra to sign it. And John Berthal was supposed to be there. And so he could sign, you know, the Punisher's, you know, underneath the Punisher's picture.
This is an amazing amount of brand new information.
Well, thank you for that random statement. Yeah. But here's the crazy thing: John Bernthal wasn't there. Apparently, he had some other obligations to attend to, so he wasn't there 9 years ago at this convention where he was supposed to be at. And I mean, I'm not mad about it or anything. I just thought it was an interesting story to bring up for the first time ever.
Yeah, at this point, I think you should probably just come in here one day and get that on a button and save yourself having to tell the story every time.
Have I told that before?
Yeah, a few times.
Really?
Yeah, actually, yeah, quite a few times. It's at least my 15th time hearing it. Yeah. Now, what's going to be crazy, like, is if you get to tell John Bernthal this story, like, if he ever comes to DragonCon or whatever.
Yeah. That would be insane. That would be great.
Yeah, man. So actually, you're an asshole. So look, can you sign this for me? Because
because if he ever shows up to like DragonCon, I'm gonna bring that plaque, and that plaque has like the date on it, like August. It was my birthday, August 20th, 2016. Like, oh man, 2016. Yeah, John. Actually, 9 years ago.
A real long time ago.
Yeah.
You didn't show. You must have had some shit to do.
Oh shit! All right. Well, with that being said, man, let's go ahead and score this episode and then this season and then theorize for season 2.
Yeah, man. You want to go first? You want me to go first? What you want to do?
I think I went first last time.
Oh shit! Okay. He went first last time, knowing that he can make me go first for the finale. So I'm going to score the episode and then the season.
Yeah.
On this episode of television, I think it is a wildly satisfying episode of television with a wildly unsatisfying conclusion. I think it would work great as an episode of Daredevil, and I think it does work great as an episode of Daredevil. I think as the season finale to season 1 of Born Again, it does not do a good job at all. What's on the screen is interesting. I think it's mostly well shot and executed, and I'm very interested in all the characters. It doesn't do anything to make me not care about the story that they're telling here, which I think is excellent. What it does do is make me not want to wait until March of 2026 to watch it. And that is unfortunate. It's one thing to end on a cliffhanger. It's another to build up a bunch of promises and not deliver. And I think that's what they did here. I think the fact that this season starts to, doesn't really get going until the end, you know? It was great, don't get me wrong. It's an amazing show, but it's kind of right as we really hit our stride here, you have Frank back, you have Matt back in the suit in front of people, right? This is not just something that he's doing. He is full tilt Daredevil again. We have Karen back. We have all the pieces on the board to take it to Fisk. Well, we have conceptual pieces. We have concepts of pieces. And then it's roll credits. Every moment that Frank and Matt are on screen together is amazing television. And the action scenes here are some of the best in the history of this show, right? Even including the Netflix stuff. The apartment fight, to me, is one of the most brutal fights. I mean, it's probably just as brutal as anything in the actual Punisher show. And then you throw Daredevil in there too, and watching Matt try to not execute these people while Frank goes around just brutally murdering them is just it's definitely something to see. I'm gonna give this episode a 7 out of 10. I wish I could give it something better than that. I wish it had been something better than that. But it is a season finale. And honestly, if you take out the amazing Matt and Frank stuff, that score drops tremendously. The way that it ends is just completely unsatisfying. There's no other real way to put it. The season, though, they resurrected Daredevil television. We were unsure of what we were actually going to get from Marvel here. Would it actually deliver what we want to see from Daredevil? The answer is a resounding yes. I love this season of TV. It gave us week after week after week of really incredible moments. We got to see all these different facets of who Matt Murdock is. We got to see all these different facets of who Daredevil is. The journey that Matt and Fisk have been on is some of the best storytelling that you're going to see in television. It's just monumental. That being said, I'm going to give the season a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, this finale was really a trip. I had nerves for this finale going into it, and from jump, I was always wondering how are they going to end this season of television, because they've told some incredible stories, from the Victor Ayala story to the Muse story, to ultimately us seeing the Kingpin being revived, and that being like the real story here. But when we come to this episode and how it works as a season finale, I mostly agree with like everything you said there. I do think this episode is very well paced. It's like I said earlier, there's not a whole lot of fat on this episode, and it's about an hour long, and they keep it moving the whole time. There's always something happening, and the weird thing is like, as unsatisfying as the conclusion of this episode is, the plot and the pacing only slows down for the action, and the action, like you said, is top notch. I really like the character work that we get here from the likes of Matt and Frank and Karen and Kingpin, and even seeing little shitheads like Daniel coming to their own, and Powell, and just really builds up that resentment towards them, and you can't wait to see them get their own comeuppance. Like you said, the action is top notch. There were some interesting directorial choices at the end of this episode, like when Matt is monologuing about the people of the city and we get shots of different people. It was really weird how that was framed. I don't know what they were going for there, for like any kind of artistic flair, but
agree.
And that didn't, even on rewatch, that didn't really do anything for me. I didn't really care for that style of directing or cinematography. But the way this season ends, it does kind of end on a whimper, and it was just an odd choice. And I try to give this season some grace, because the way that this thing was set up, I don't know how they end this, knowing that they were going to essentially split the story into two parts. I don't know where they put the ending at. Maybe if you're going to give us a massive cliffhanger, maybe you do end it with Matt getting shot. I don't know. It's a hard thing to say, but like the way that this ends just doesn't really do it for me. It's like you end in the middle of a chapter of a story, and I like where the story is going, but you ended this particular chapter way too early. But just about everything else they do with this episode, I really enjoyed. I give it a 7.9 out of 10. And for the season, an incredible season of television as a whole. Like, out of all 9 episodes, there's only 2 episodes that I score beneath an 8. That's the finale, and I think episode 4? I don't remember which one. But there's only 2 episodes that, I personally scored beneath an 8. This season has some of the best Daredevil work that I've seen. And I think that is incredible. And if you like, that kind of prestige television, that kind of gritty drama and action in the superhero realm, 100% I would recommend this to people. I also give this season a 9 out of 10.
Very cool.
Yes.
Very glad we got it. Didn't like the way it ended. Mm-hmm. And you know what they say? They only remember the finish, kid.
Yes. That is what they say.
That whimper that we were talking about is what people are going to be thinking about from now to March. So when you guys go to try to get people hyped for season 2, you're going to have to try real hard.
Yeah. So with that being said, that's going to make this next question, I guess, a little bit more interesting. Is Daredevil Born Again better than Daredevil Season 3 for you?
Oh. There are aspects of it that I think are worlds better than Daredevil Season 3. But Daredevil Season 3 is incredibly good, even though my complaints for Daredevil Season 3 are that there's a lot of padding in it because of that whole Netflix, like, we need this many episodes, right? Like, there's probably 2 whole episodes you could chuck out of that thing and make it a lot slimmer and leaner. They could have gone on for another 6 episodes, and I would have been like, yeah, that they had plenty left, they could have expanded upon a few things. We never got the dinner scene that I wanted.
Damn it.
And, there's lots of stuff that clearly was left on the cutting room floor here. So, it can't end this way and be better than season 3 of Daredevil, though. Mm-hmm. Because season 3 of Daredevil had an amazing ending that really set up this season.
Yeah.
Very well. Even though that's in no way what they were intending to do. They obviously were probably trying to set up a season 4 for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they were.
Because they didn't know back then that the series was going to be canceled.
Yeah. That's why Matt was in the suit so little in season 3, because they were going to do a whole season 4.
Yeah.
Back to basis.
Right. But he was in the suit, but I think maybe once or twice in that season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, no, it's not better than season 3 of Daredevil. It just can't be. There's aspects of it that are, but overall, no.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And that doesn't mean that this isn't an incredible season of television. It is. But, yeah, on the whole of it, man, yeah, they really had a hard time with this finale, and you can tell.
Yeah, I think they probably went through a lot of edits of this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. What do you want to see for Born Again Season 2?
Obviously, you have to put... I think you put Matt in the role that Batman was in the Justice League movie, where he's kind of gathering the troops, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's got to convince Frank. He's got to get Jessica Jones on board. He's got to get Luke Cage on board. He's got to get Danny Rand or Colleen probably on board. Both of them is fine. Yep. Honestly, I would like to see more than just the Defenders, because he said they need an army. I would like to see some more of the Swordsmen. I would like to see the Swordsmen bring in Kate Bishop. Oh, yeah. I'd love to see Clint Barton come in. We got to get Miss Marvel, right?
We don't need Miss Marvel in this.
We totally do.
We absolutely do not.
We have to get her.
Out of all the things we don't need.
We absolutely need her. They already set it up.
What?
You think the shit that Fist is doing isn't going to impact them at all?
Okay. Here's the thing.
Plus, Kamala Khan already went to Kate Bishop and with the Avengers Initiative,
I am so good with forgetting all that.
That's what I'm here for. Here I am, world's greatest co-host. Welcome.
I don't need to remember that is what I'm getting at.
We're not going to get Spider-Man, but we could get all these other people that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think we can get the people that fit the tone of what this is.
Actually, the fact of the matter is, Marvel is kind of at its best when you have people who don't seem like they should be there.
Give me examples.
Okay. So there's not really a reason for like a scientist like Tony Stark or inventor to be there with a fucking Norse demigod.
I think that in terms of like personalities and power sets, probably not.
There's not a reason for a Russian spy to be on screen with a fucking space age fucking mega robot. Okay? And a witch.
I'm not looking at this in terms of character abilities or traits. I'm looking at this in terms of tone and personality. She does not mix. Kamala Khan does not mix with a Defenders Daredevil universe. And you know what? Daredevil, he doesn't really fit in with, the other shit,
Right, but if you're ever going to get Matt in an Avengers movie, obviously there's going to have to be a little give on that. It's the same way that, fucking Avengers Doomsday better not have the fucking tone that Love and Thunder had, but Thor's going to be in it.
and that's a great point because Thor didn't work in that fucking movie.
No, he didn't. Not at all. I agree with you. Yeah, we're not disagreeing about that at all.
Oh man, it's like but the other thing is this, right? Like the Defender verse, it feels like it has a very specific tone on it.
Oh, well, can we get Bucky then? Because
I feel like Bucky's gonna be busy.
Yeah, it would be amazing though. Holy shit,
that would be great.
Because Bucky would fit in here amazingly.
Oh yeah, in multiple counts. One, because he has some kind of political position now.
Yeah,
or did.
I think he's gonna abandon that in Thunderbolts and be like, "Nah, we need the fucking Winter Soldier."
Yeah, that would be great. There is a Winter Soldier and Daredevil fight in the comics.
I think it would be amazing if like there was a Frank, Matt, and Bucky scene. Like about halfway through the fight, like Bucky's just like, "So this guy's insane," and Matt's like, "Yeah, yes." Yes, I've been trying to tell you.
Oh shit. I feel like they'd probably be competing to see who can get the high score on killing people. I don't know.
Like the old Bucky, yeah, but not like today. I mean, don't get me wrong, he still kills people.
Yeah. He still kills people. He used to murder people.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, as a mission.
Yeah. That would be cool though. Man, I think for season 2, I want to know what's Fist's next move. I know that he wants to finish working on the Red Hook doc and start laundering in more money and gaining more power that way. But I guess I'm curious, like, what are the moves is he going to make? I would love to see him try to beef up the task force, to make them something that's more threatening. Because as it stands, like, if you are a masked vigilante, if you're smart about it, the task force doesn't really pose that big of a threat.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt and Frank took out 20 of them,
Yeah. So you think he's going to try to get some enhanced?
That would be cool.
Obviously, Dex isn't going to work out.
No. And as a matter of fact, mild potential spoiler, folks, but one of the set photos, you see Dex and Matt standing side by side. Now, who knows if that is an actual photo of what's supposed to take place in the show,
or just them standing around on the set? Yeah.
Who knows?
There's no way. Like, if they do this whole thing where like Matt comes to like forgive him in any way, no. I'm out, fam. No, I'm done. That can't happen.
There is no forgiveness. As a matter of fact, I could go the other way on this. So it seems like they are now trying to go into like the Shadowland storyline from the Daredevil comic books.
Yeah.
And just a little bit on that is Matt Murdock, he becomes the leader of the Hand.
What the fuck?
Yeah. He takes up that position in hopes to kind of reform them. As a result, though, he ends up being the one that's reformed, kind of by them.
Great.
Yeah. And like one of the first things he does is he murders Bullseye. Like he takes that plunge, and the reason why that crossed my mind is because he's wearing the black suit in the comic books when he does it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's wearing that black suit in season 2. Now I don't know if they go that route. It would be an interesting journey, though, an interesting pivot if, like, part of the army he amasses is the Hand.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, though. That seems like tonally just very hard to pull off. I would actually rather they not bring the Hand back at all. At least not for a while.
We got to see the Hand again at some point.
Well, as long as it doesn't involve, like, a whole season of, like, Matt fighting random ninjas.
It doesn't have to be the whole season. Yeah.
Season 2, man. Season 2 is still the worst season of Daredevil. There's that like what 3-4 episode Punisher arc at the beginning,
yeah,
and then that shit just falls off a cliff.
Yeah, it's two stories told in one. Like the first story is like the Punisher story, and then the second one is like the Hand and Elektra, and then like it doesn't really tie together at the end, but they bring Punisher back anyway.
He kills a couple ninjas on a rooftop.
He does. Yep.
and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm pretty sure that like there's a good 90 solid minutes of Matt fighting nameless ninja NPCs.
There's a lot of that. And you know they kind of ran that back for Defenders, and kind of found out like whenever they were asked for more money to do like bigger set pieces, they were told, well, we can't give you a bigger budget, just fight more NPCs basically.
Yeah,
that's what they were told.
Yeah.
So yeah, season 2. I think that they know that they have to come out the gate swinging with that premiere.
Yeah.
Whenever that does start, I think that Daredevil has enough clout with the fan base that people will come back for it. But man, the way this ended, I'm just they gotta do something stronger than that coming out the gate.
I mean, it's almost like they did a shittier version of what Matt Reeves did at the end of the Batman. Where it's like, you know, he realizes, like Batman realizes he has to be a symbol and like inspire people.
Right.
You kind of this was like a Temu version of that, you know? And I would love to see Matt kind of go that route, right? Mm-hmm. But with them having him switch to the black suit, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Unless he's just doing that for like extra stealth because, you know, he's like... the most wanted motherfucker in the city after I'm sure all these cops and stuff they've killed. So.
Yeah. Because like we really need to see, okay, the task force, they're being told stop vigilantes. I want to see how.
Yeah, they haven't stopped no vigilantes.
Yeah, Frank doesn't count. One, because he went into your base and killed like 12 of y'all.
and he doesn't wear a mask.
Yeah, and two, he broke out.
Yeah.
So Frank doesn't count.
They got the swordsman.
But he was at a party.
Yeah, he was just at a party.
Yeah, minding his own business. But yeah, like they don't even have anyone else. So here's what I'll say, and then we'll wrap up here. But like, I think a great way to bring in Luke Cage would be like what they did in like the Civil War comic. Luke Cage, he is anti Superhero Registration Act. He doesn't like that idea at all, and he's very vocal about not liking it. But what ends up happening is that with the registration act, if you're an enhanced person or in any kind of regard, you had until like a certain date at a certain time to sign the act, or if you didn't, then you'd be arrested by SHIELD. And Luke Cage, he refused to sign, but he was just sitting in his home. He told Jessica Jones, take the baby and leave. I'm gonna just chill here in my home, not doing anything. And as soon as the clock struck midnight and it was a new day, a bunch of SHIELD agents busted up into his house. And he was like, I ain't doing shit. I'm just minding my business. And Maria Hill was like, well, Luke, we really need you to sign this because, if you don't, then blah, blah, blah. And, Luke, he is just sitting in his house minding his own business. He doesn't sign it. And then, they raise guns at him, and I guess they forgot he's fucking Luke Cage. And,
I'm Luke Cage.
I'm Luke Cage. And then he beats ass and escapes. But, it was just a really cool moment for Luke in the comic books. I would love for, if the task force starts to be more proactive like that, and they just try to go and find where some of these people are at, especially the public ones like Luke Cage.
Yeah, if they try to break into Jessica Jones' house, they're going to have a bad time then, too.
Right.
Because she's going to cave your chest in.
Yeah. Oh.
The funny thing about this whole thing is, out of all the Defenders, only Daredevil wears a mask.
Yeah, because, Iron Fist doesn't go around as Iron Fist.
No, he doesn't. He's just Danny Rand with a glowy hand.
With a glowy hand. That's his full name.
Danny Rand glowy hand. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, shit. Well, you got anything else on this before we wrap up, though?
That's it, man. I hope season 2 is a banger. They got all the pieces set up for him.
Yeah.
But
there should be no excuses for season 2 either.
Yeah, we can't be 5 episodes into this shit and, it's just Daredevil. Mm-hmm. We need some movement.
We need some movement. And I guess I am more optimistic than cautious about season 2 because if I look at how they jerry-rigged season 1 into something that's really good, then
they got season 2 from jump.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I agree.
So hopefully, they can do something a little bit better, with season 2, especially with the way that it wraps. Oddly enough, I heard reports that obviously we heard reports that Foggy is somehow returning for season 2.
It's got to be in a flashback. I'm so glad that's one thing they didn't do in the finale is the rumors of him being alive or whatever. That doesn't need to be a thing at all.
Yeah, agreed. But I've also heard reports that Muse is returning for season 2.
What the fuck?
I imagine it has something to do with Heather and flashbacks.
Yeah, that or it's got to be a copycat.
That part too. Yeah.
That could totally be a thing where it's that wasn't the real Muse. It just inspired what becomes the real Muse. That could be a thing.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
Some crazy motherfucker somewhere that actually can fight was hey, that's a good idea. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I'd for sure be down for that. Any other villains you'd like to see show up?
I mean, honestly, Taskmaster would be ideal here.
Oh, yeah.
If we got the actual Taskmaster.
That would be great, yeah. Yeah.
He'd be perfect for this.
For sure.
But
yeah.
Question mark.
Question mark, yeah.
Well, aren't they the only one that's not coming back though?
Yeah, so far that we know of.
Yeah, so they might die in Thunderbolts and then we get some nefarious resurrection or whatever, cloning or whatever happens.
There's a few interesting retcons Marvel can make before they wrap up this whole multiverse thing.
Yep.
So
that's true, and that's one of them.
Yeah. Well, homies, that's going to be all for this one. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this breakdown and review of the finale for Daredevil Born Again and the review of the season as a whole. This has been a very interesting journey with a whole lot of ups, only a few downs, but unfortunately one of the downs is here at the end.
Yeah, that's not where you want the down to be at, if there's going to be one.
If there's going to be one.
Because you can't recover from that shit if it's at the end.
Right, come on. I think this would be one of those things where hopefully I will enjoy more 3 years from now when I can watch season 1 and 2 back to back.
Back to back.
Yeah. Because then, it'll just seem like a weird ending of a random episode and not a season finale.
Yeah.
But in the words of a very wise man, we gonna see.
We gonna see. And we'll be back tomorrow with a review of Sinners, the new Ryan Coogler flick. I am very hyped for that.
Yes. So we're gonna see what the reports are on that. I mean, Sinners has gotten a lot of really good scores across the board. I like Ryan Coogler's films a lot, and he likes Michael B. Jordan a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll be back with that review. So please remember to check that out as well. First half of that's going to be spoiler free, so don't worry about spoilers. That's going to be all for this one, but we will see you guys again very soon. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.